Good morning, Beth-El Tzedek, Shabbat Shalom, and happy Independence Day. Happy birthday to the United States of America. It is 244 years since becoming our great nation, and I wish you all a very happy 4th and a safe 4th, and Shabbat Shalom as always, because it's always Shabbat on a Saturday. So I'm happy to be with you on this very special day. It's also my wedding anniversary. It's Sweet 16 for Mark and I, and happy to be sharing that with you as well. We have a very beautiful reading today, special reading today in the Haftorah. So I hope that everybody will be looking forward to that. And now would be a great time to go ahead and Shabbat Shalom, Marty. And now would be a great time to go ahead and get your resources all together. So you can do that at bez613.org as always. And there you will find under the virtual resources, under the title for Shabbat Chants and Counters, you will find a link to the online version of our Siddur Lev Shalem, where you can follow along with the pages. Also good if you have your own hard copy at home, feel free to follow along with me. And later on, you will be able to read along for today's Torah reading, including the Maftir, as well as the special Haftarah, and it is a special Haftarah reading today. So I'm excited to share that with you. We are going to begin this morning on page 101 in Siddur Lev Shalem with beautiful words that are not only from our Torah portion today. We have a double parsha actually from Chukat and from Balak, and from towards the end of Balak, we find these beautiful words, which are actually uttered by a non-Israelite, by a we weren't Jews at the time, but we were still Israelites, and they are beautiful words that we recite that made their way into our liturgy, but they weren't ever, they're not recited by God, and they're not recited by Moses or Aaron or someone like that, but they were recited by someone who was not a Jew, not an Israelite, and yet they have made our way into our liturgy. They even are etched on the outside of our very own Beth-El Tzedek building, outside of the walls of our sanctuary, on the outside of our building, and they adorn many shuls and synagogues, congregations all throughout the world, because it says, "How lovely are your dwellings, Jacob, your sanctuaries, the people of Israel." And these words, of course, are very familiar to all of us. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. Say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Okay. And so we will chant together to bring the beauty of our homes, our dwelling places, which over the past several months during this time of pandemic, that we have made our own homes, our sanctuaries, our beautiful dwelling places have become sacred spaces in a very different way than they were before. And so we will sing together Ma Tovu Ahalecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael, words directly from this morning's Torah portion together. Page 101. Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Mishkanotecha Yisrael. And they really are beautiful words that we recite. So now let's go on to page 103, and we will recite some of our Birchot HaShachar, some of our morning blessings. I'm still in the middle of my coffee. I'm drinking from Indianapolis this morning. That's where, if you're joining me from elsewhere, we're in Indianapolis. The fun thing about this pandemic is that with our virtual services, we are able to join from anywhere. And I know that some people who don't even know us at Beth-El have been able to join on with us and catch us. And, you know, I know that some of our own have also been able to catch on at other congregations as well and join in other kahals across the nation. So that's been also a nice little silver lining of getting to know other communities. So page 103, and we'll join in together in the blessings for a new day, and we'll join in together just on page 103 today. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech vivina lehavchin ben yom uven laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani betzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chovim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. And let's join together on page 112, and we will chant together the Psalms for Shabbat, which is Psalm 92, and we'll chant the bottom 4 lines together. Tzaddik Tamar, talking about the righteous among us, will flourish like the palm tree, and we will remain bountiful, and that we will be upright, good, righteous people proclaiming God's name. So we will sing together Tzaddik Tamar at the bottom of page 112, celebrating the joys of Shabbat. Tzaddik Tamar yivrach ke'erez balvanon yizgeh shetulim bevet Adonai בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בשבע דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי אשר אדוני Suri velo avalatabo. And we'll join with verses of song, Pesuke de Zimra on page 122, Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam, Baruch Hu. Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer ve'oseh, Baruch Gozer u'mekayim, Baruch merachim al ha'aretz, Baruch merachim al ha'briyot, Baruch meshalim sachar tov lireyav, Baruch elad ve'kayam lanetzach, Baruch podeh u'matzil, Baruch Shemo. And we will sing a little bit of Ashrei together on page 136. And if a transliteration is helpful for you, that is found on page 181. And we will sing together at the top through, I don't know. Let's just start. I'll direct you after. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha od yahlelucha stella. Ashrei ham shekach lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav, tehila leDavid. Aromimcha Elohai hamelech, ve'avercha shimcha leolam va'ed. Bechol yom averchecha, ve'alela shimcha leolam va'ed. And let's go down to the Tav at Tehilat. Tehilat Adonai yedaber pihi, vivarech kol basar shem kodsho leolam va'ed, va'anachnu nevarech Yah, me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah. So as this is our nation's day of freedom, similar to celebrating Passover, I would like to sing through the Song of the Sea, the Shirat Hayam, on page 143, which is the song that we sing in context at the time of Passover and also during the Torah portion B'Shalach. But it is the song that contains the words that we'll sing in a little bit with Mi Chamocha, the song that Miriam and Moses and Aaron sang at the Song of the Sea at the moment of our liberation. And so on this day of our independence, 244 years later, I would like to recall the moment of our liberation when our nation declared its independence and took upon itself to declare the freedoms that it wanted to bestow upon its inhabitants, and that we look towards those ideals for now and forever. And so I want to recall the same in our own people as they stood upon the shores. So we'll look at page 143 and we'll sing together at the beginning, and then we will end with the concluding words, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, that God will reign forever. So let's begin together. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני ויאמרו לאמור, אשיר על אדוני כי גאו גאל, סוס ורוכבו רמה וימה, עוזי וזמרתיה ויהי לי ישועה. זה אלי וענווהו, אלוהי אבי ורוממנו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Beautiful. So now we will look ahead, and I would like us to continue at the top of page 150 with our blessing that separates the formation of light and the creation of darkness, bringing harmony to all. And this is the Yotzer blessing that follows the recitation of the Baruch Hu. So the top of page 150, please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, osei shalom uvorei et hakol. Then we'll join together now for the recitation of the Shema, where we come together as one, proclaiming God's name as one, and we become one community in this way. And as I said earlier, in our own sacred spaces, that we are able to come together in this way at a time when otherwise we have to be apart. The Shema is a reminder where we can all join our voices together. So please join me at the top of page 155 with the recitation of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננת בבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And we'll join together in the closing paragraph of the Shema on page 156. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם שונאים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם Adonai Elohechem Emet. So before we recite our prayer for freedom, the Michamocha, which is on page 158, I wanted to share with you a prayer for our country. And I want to note that it's very connected to our Haftarah today. And in fact, our own Siddur Lev Shalim, even if you're looking with me on page 177 in the Siddur, the alternative, there's a few prayers for the country that are offered here on this page. And on the margin for the alternative prayer for our country, towards the end of the prayer, you'll see that it references the very last verse from Micah 6, one of the last verses of today's Haftarah, from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. So you will see that the idea of freedom and is very connected to today's Parsha and to today's Haftarah, and I love when things like that just happen by chance, and it just, by chance today is July 4th, but you can see that this connection of freedom is right there for us, so that happened perfectly today. I just wanted to offer a prayer for our country right now before we offer our regular daily and weekly prayer for freedom in the recitation of the Michamocha. So we can recite together here, and I'm going to modify and abbreviate this just a bit. Our God and God of our ancestors, grant to our country the will and wherewithal to fulfill its calling to justice, liberty, and equality. May each of us fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, generosity, and gratitude, ever conscious of the extraordinary blessing of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to one another. And that is a very important ideal that I wanted to particularly stress, which will come up in our Haftarah. May our judges, elected leaders, and all who hold public office exercise their responsibilities with wisdom, fairness, and justice for all. Fill them with love and kindness, and bless them that they may walk with integrity on the paths of peace and righteousness. Creator and protector of all, watch over our armed forces and all those entrusted with our safety as they daily put their lives at risk to protect us and our freedoms. Be with them in times of danger, give them courage to act with honor and dignity, as well as insight to do what is right in your eyes. Fill us all with the gifts of love and courage that we may create a world that reflects your glory. May we each respond to the charge of your prophet Micah. For what does Adonai demand of you but to act justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? May the one who brings peace on high bring peace and prosperity to our world and keep us in safety. And we can all say to each other and for America, Amen ve'amen. And we can say for God to bless us all and for God to bless this great nation that we are able to live in and live with the freedoms that we have. And so with that, we can stand at the shores with our ancestors, Miriam, Aaron, and Moses, and all of the children of Israel, and recite, "Who is like you, Adonai, that has done this for us and given all of these miracles and given us this freedom." And we'll say together, "Mi chamocha." Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, nora tehilot ohu seifele, shir chadasha shibechu geulim l'shimcha al safatayam, yachad kulam Odu ve'imlichu ve'ameru, Adonai Melech le'olam va'ed. Zor Yisrael kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufedi chilumecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzebaot Shemo, Kedosh, Kedosh, Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. And we'll take a moment for some quiet and silent private prayer where you can use the words of the Siddur or the words of your own heart, of course. Reflect on the past week, the coming Shabbat, the remainder of Shabbat, and the coming week, and how you would like to see yourself in that. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Well, again, for those of you who joined us a little late, Shabbat Shalom and happy Independence Day. And I'm happy for you to join me this morning on this beautiful sunny 4th of July here in Indiana. So we have an interesting Torah portion as always, and those of you who joined Rabbi Jenny this morning for Torah Talk, I'm sure discussed as many of the intricacies that go on as a double parsha today. In the triennial way that we read the Torah, where we read just a third of the parsha each week, we don't get all of it, so I'm going to concentrate on just that's what would have been the triennial portion for today, and we're in year 1, so we get the beginning, so we don't actually get any part of the second portion that we would have read today in Balak. That's the section with Matovu and the talking donkey. So we'll save that for the next time that it comes up. But we do get some interesting pieces in Chukat that I wanted to touch on, and we also get a very beautiful haftarah that has, as I just noted, a very, very beautiful charge at the very end of it. So we'll talk about that in a few moments as well. So. So at the beginning, let me just give you a little bit of an overview. So a lot happens in over the course of these two parshot. We experience the death of both Miriam and Aaron. Okay. We also have the moment where Moses and Aaron also are sentenced to die in the wilderness without getting to reach the promised land. Because, previously in the past couple of weeks, we learned that the generation that was in the Exodus, that they were sentenced, punished to die in the wilderness and not reach the promised land, that it wouldn't be that generation, that it would be their children to reach the promised land for their complaints and the way that they behaved during their journey, and the ultimate the ultimate cherry on the top, the straw that broke the camel's back. Sorry, I'm bad with idioms. But the straw that broke the camel's back was finally, reached a couple of weeks ago when God said, okay, I've had enough. You guys are done. Okay, you're going to die in the wilderness. You've got your promise. You've got your wish, I mean. So, but God did not specifically say that that would happen to Moses and to Aaron, but in this Torah portion is where we actually definitively hear God say to Moses and Aaron, yeah, you guys are the leaders now, but not anymore. Okay, you can continue to lead, but you're not gonna go to the promised land. You guys are done too. Okay, so we get Miriam dying. It doesn't, the text doesn't specifically say that she did something wrong, so we just assume that she dies. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But then we do get these sentences for Aaron and Moses, who, by the way, do sin in the eyes of God. So we'll talk about that. And so, we find here that there are, in this portion, we also realize that we're coming to the end of our journey. We're coming to the end of this moment where there's no one left on this, where there's no one left on this journey that was actually at Sinai, except for, few people like Moses and like Aaron, that there are just a choice few people left from that generation. So remember that God had said, we're done. That generation's going to die in the wilderness. And so it's an interesting, change in time that has happened in the past couple of weeks. It seemed like it happened kind of quick, that these 40 years have passed, okay? So it's clear in this portion, though, that 40 years have passed, okay? So Miriam dies at the beginning. At the beginning, there's this whole thing with the brown, red cow, and which is very unusual. It's one of those, it's sort of an irrational demand of us, right? Because it's not something that we can explain. We're just expected to accept this type of a law, this type of a ritual without really understanding it. It's one of those signs of love and trust in God that we ultimately just have to accept because it's not something that's explainable. That's not what we're going to read or talk about today. So that's what happens in the beginning. But then in the beginning of chapter 20, which is where we're going to concentrate on today, we see Miriam dying at a place called Kadesh, and she's buried there. And they don't really talk about anything more. They just say she died, she was buried, and then what happens? No water. Because there is this legend that wherever Miriam was, there was water. Miriam is always connected to water. It goes way back to the time of when she put Moses into the Nile to go off, to send him to safety to the palace where Pharaoh was, and then of course when she praised God and rejoiced in God's miracle at the sea, she's always been connected to water. And many of us have now a cup of water, a close Miriam, on our Seder tables to even remember that where Miriam was, there was water. And what is most important when you're making a journey in the desert more than anything? Water. So Miriam dies, and with her, so too, the people think, is the water. If we're without Miriam, then now we're without water. So what is the first thing that the people do when they see that Miriam has died? They complain. Now, instead of God being enraged that they're complaining, which is what has happened in the past few parshiot, God sees that their complaints are actually legitimate, right? Because they're actually going to die of thirst if they don't have water. So God, so God says to Aaron and to Moses, okay, You're going to take, remember that rod that we got water from that one time and it's done other cool stuff? You're going to go get the rod and you're going to strike the rock and you're going to go and give the people water. But at this point, Moses is like, he's done with the people. They are tired and they're going to show their complete impatience and tiredness with the people at this point. And it's going to show a major generational gap, right? Like to me, this is like, okay, this is like the baby boomers and the millennials completely. Like this is so, I love it. So they're in this moment and he gathers all the people, right? You can imagine it because this is, again, we're in our 40th year, so you can imagine it's a big generational gap. You've got Moses and Aaron, and then you've got all these millennials. You've got the children of these people that were his peers, and and they're complaining about the water, and he's like, all right, you want water? Here, I'm going to show you. This is where the water is going to come from. Boom. And he strikes it twice just to show he's like particularly angry. And Aaron doesn't like stop him and say, hey, calm down, okay? So God gets angry with Moses and Aaron. God is angry with Aaron, presumably because he didn't stop him. He didn't show him, hey, don't do that. That's not right. You're getting too angry. And he gets mad, and God gets mad with Moses because it is presumed that he did not give God the credit for the miracle, that Moses and Aaron took the credit themselves for this miracle of the water. That they affirmed that they attributed the miracle to themselves as opposed to God. That they didn't say, this is what our mighty God has done for you. Whereas back in Exodus, when they did the same ritual for their own generation, they did attribute the miracle to God. So I just want to be clear that they did this same trick. They've done this already. They've done this little pony trick already back in Exodus, okay, when they needed water back in the desert then. And they did the same thing. God said, take the rod, put it on the rock, and he did it. He only did it once though, okay, just to show that was like, okay, I'm doing it, exactly what you said. And Moses says, oh, God did this for us. But that's not what happened this time. So I think it shows that the generation has gone out. It shows that that Aaron and Moses were good for the journey and good for exactly what they did for the Exodus and for leading the people on the journey, but that this is where it ended, and that they were not the right people to bring this congregation, because it goes on to say where, I mean, God, it's very particular, the wording here in verse 12, that God calls both of them out and says, you both are going to be condemned to die in the wilderness for not trusting in me in the presence of this congregation, as opposed to that one, the previous congregation. And so it implies now that we are 40 years later, this is the new congregation. These are the new folks. And it's very plain, and it says, you guys are not going to lead this congregation into the new land. And so some think that this is a very harsh punishment for the two men, for the two leaders who have been completely loyal to God so far and have done all of God's commands and interceded for the people. I mean, they've done everything, and it's a pretty harsh punishment, but this is what God has determined. So that's what's gone on here. And then we see in a couple verses later, like there's a weird little thing that happens after that. And then we see a few verses later that in fact Aaron does die, and then the leadership from him, from the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, is transferred then to his son Eleazar, which we knew would happen. And it says there that the people mourned for 30 days, and that becomes then the source of some of our current modern day mourning practices. That's where we get the expression of shloshim from, where we mourn for 30 days, and the different periods of Shiva, Shloshim, and then the year of mourning. And so so that's where that all comes from. Now our maftir, as you can imagine, is in Balak, and so it's like totally, I mean, completely, as usual, like completely unrelated to all of this. It has to do with Pinchas, who is the son of Eleazar, and it has to do with an entirely different story involving a plague that's going on amongst the people at the time, and issues with some idol worshiping that's also going on at the time. So we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to accept it, and I'm just going to read it, and then we'll talk about the Haftarah in a minute. So here we go. We're going to have some Torah and read about these goings on in the desert. All right, so if you're not there already, you should be on the virtual resources on the website, and you should be on the Torah and Maftir readings, because I don't have the whole thing there. I have only what I'm going to be reading, and so it's from chapter 20 in Numbers, but it's not all like in a row. So go there, and I'll call you up for your aliyah, and you can recite from home with me. יעמדו כל קהילת בית-אל צדק, ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו, ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. ויבוא בני ישראל כל העדה מתפרצים בחודש הראשון, וישב העם וקדש, ותמות שם מרים, ותיקבר שם, ולא היה מים לעדה, ויקהלו על משה ועל אהרון. וידבר אדוני אל משה לאמור, קח את המטה, והקל את העדה אתה ואהרון אחיך, ודיברתם אל הסלע לעיניהם, ונתן מימיו, והוצאת להם מים מן הסלע, והשקית את העדה ואת בעירם, ויקח משה את המטה מלפני אדוני כאשר ציווהו, ויקהילו משה ואהרון את הקהל אל פני הסלע, ויאמר להם, שמעונה המורים מן הסלע הזה נוציא לכם מים, וירם משה את ידו, ויך את הסלע במטהו פעמיים, ויצאו מים רבים, ותשת העדה ובעירם. ויאמר אדוני אל משה ואל אהרון, יען האמנתם בי להקדישני לעיני בני ישראל, לכן לא תביאו את הקהל הזה אל הארץ אשר נתתי להם, המה מי מריבה אשר רבו בני ישראל את אדוני, ויקדש בם. יאסף אהרון אל עמיו, כי לא יבוא אל הארץ אשר נתתי לבני ישראל, על אשר מירתם את פי למי מריבה. קח את אהרון ואת אלעזר בנו, העלותם חור ההר, והפשיט את אהרון את בגדיו, והלבשתם את אלעזר בנו, ואהרון יאסף ומת שם. ויעש משה כאשר ציווה אדוני, ויעלו אל הור ההר לעיני כל העדה, ויפשט משה את אהרון את בגדיו, וילבש אותם את אלעזר בנו, וימות אהרון שם בראש ההר, וירד את משה ואלעזר מן ההר, ויראו כל העדה כי קבע אהרון, ויבכו את אהרון 30 יום כל בית ישראל. And here's our maftir. Vayar Pinachas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen Vayakom mito ha'chayda vayikach ramach beyado vayavo achar ish Yisrael El HaKuba vayidkor et shnehem et ish Yisrael v'et Yisrael kovata v'teatzar ha'magefa me'al ben Yisrael Vayihu hametihim b'magefa arba v'yisrihim ha'alef. And our blessing after is Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Okay, so now we are going to go on to our Haftorah. Let me get to it, which is also on our virtual resources. Okay. So I said earlier when we were doing the prayer for our country, this Haftorah comes from Micah, and it's a portion that goes over chapters 5 and part of chapter 5 and part of chapter 6. But the very, very simple message here is to convey is this expression of how we are to behave, how we as people are to behave. It says here, what does God require of us, right? We are, we are told what to expect of God, right? We know from God the attributes of God. We just, they're mentioned in the Torah. We recall them at times of our holy festivals. These are known as the Midot, the Adonai, Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, right? That God is a compassionate God, a forgiving God, that acts with loving kindness and so forth. And so these are God's attributes. But what are our Midot? What are our attributes? And I like to think that right here in chapter 6, verse 8, that these are the people's attributes towards God. And it says, what are you going to do for God? And it says, how are you to be good? What is it that you are going to do? And it says very simply, do justice, love goodness, and walk modestly with your God. And it says here really that humility is the foundation for all of the above. And really, this verse connects us to the fundamental values of our freedoms and the national sense of our independence. These are the national values of our nation and the pursuit of freedom. And so the fact that it is mentioned in prayers for our country is very poignant. And I thought that in addition to looking at the verses that I included here, that we would also note the key foundations of our Declaration of Independence as words of prophecy, that words that need to still be fulfilled to this day, and words that hearken the voice of justice and the voice of liberty and freedom and equality. And so we will read a little bit from Micah, and we will read a little bit from the Declaration of Independence. So let's go ahead and recite a blessing, and then we will get to our Haftarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nbi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'amarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ובנביאי האמת והצדק ירצה אדוני באלפי ברבבות נחלי שמן, האתן בכורי פישי, פרי בטני חטאת נפשי. הגיד לך האדם מה טוב, ומאדוני דורש ממך, כי אם עשות משפט ואהבת חסד, והצנע לכת עם אלוהיך. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in general Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Al HaTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'nevi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. So on this 244th anniversary of our great nation, before reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, which I would like to invite everybody to join me on page 207, I would like to recall the names of those we are still in Shloshim for in our congregation: Howard Sagalowski, Francine Dyer, Gerda Fogel, along with all of those who have given their lives for the protection of our freedoms, to make this country the nation of the nation that it is, with freedom and with the values that it stands for. And so I hope that you will all join with me and stand, if you are able, on page 207 and join me in the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish, proclaiming God's great name. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav v'yasei shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all who dwell on earth. and to this great nation, the United States of America. And we'll say together, Amen. So again, I thank everybody for joining me on this Shabbat, this Star-Spangled Shabbat. And I hope that everybody will have a safe, happy 4th of July and Independence weekend. And join Beth-El throughout the week as usual, and see you for Shabbat next week as well. And I'll invite you to join me for our closing song on page 211, Adon Olam, and we'll sing it to a special melody this morning. Adon Olam asher malach בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. בידו הפקיד רוחי, בעת תישן ויהירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. Shabbat Shalom, happy 4th, happy Independence Day, and thank you for being with me.